Good morning. It is October 27 and I am at Manzano Mountains State Park. It's about 2 hours from Albuquerque, southeast direction. I stayed the night in Albuquerque at a truck stop and so drove here this morning. I'm not too keen on staying in this state park because it only has vault toilets. And somehow I just have such a fear of vault toilets. But anyways, we'll see how long this hike takes and if I stay or go on. Definitely pine forest. Seems like a peaceful little park though. There's only one other camper here. It's a loop trail and I think it's just over 2 miles long. So not hardly anything strenuous. David is still in hiding, and once again the Ziphites were tattletales and went to Saul telling him where David was. So Saul took 3,000 men and set out to find David in the wilderness of Ziph. So David found out via some spies that Saul was after him again. Well, Saul and his army settled down for the night. Saul and Abner, his army commander, lay in the middle of the 3,000 men, so they were very well protected. David asked who wanted to go with him down to the camp of Saul, and Abishai volunteered. And he is actually David's nephew. His mother was Zeruiah, David's sister. A well-marked path anyway. They went in the middle of the night, and Saul and all his men were sleeping away. Saul's spear was stuck in the ground right beside his head. Abishai said, "God has delivered your enemy into your hand this very day. Please let me strike him at once with the spear right to the ground, and I will not have to strike a second time." But David once more had compassion on Saul and said, "Do not strike the Lord's anointed. Leave it up to God, and God will deal with him in his own good timing." Instead, they took Saul's spear and the jug of water that was by his head, and they got away, and nobody saw them, because the Lord had caused a deep sleep to fall upon them. So David went and stood on top of a hill afar off, and there was a great distance between them, and then he had some fun. David called to Abner, challenging him a bit. "Hey, aren't you a man? Who is like you in all of Israel? Why haven't you guarded the king? For one of the people came in to destroy your lord the king. This is not good. You deserve to die." See where the king's spear is and the jug of water that was by his head? Because of his negligence, Abner should be executed. David cares more about Saul's safety than Abner does. Well, at least the gamble oak leaves are pretty. Then Saul knew David's voice and said, "Is that your voice, my son David?" "It is my voice, my lord, O king." David consistently acknowledges Saul's kingship over Israel. Oh, you can make an exit and go to Cibola National Forest this way. But I'm gonna stick to the well-marked trail. Then David asked Saul why he continues in pursuing him. "What have I done? I am nothing. It's like you are hunting down a flea." Saul admitted he had sinned. "Return, my son David, and I will harm you no more, because my life was precious in your eyes this day. I have played the fool and erred exceedingly." Then David said, "Here is the king's spear. Let one of your young men come over and get it. I refuse to harm the Lord's anointed. So as I valued your life in my eyes, So may my life be valued in the eyes of the Lord, and let him deliver me from all tribulation. Then Saul said, "May you be blessed, my son David. You shall both do great things and also still prevail." This was Saul's last words to David. But even though Saul called him to come back to him, David no longer trusts his words and stays in the wilderness, choosing to be a fugitive. It seems like they put up these logs along the pathway to make it somewhat interesting, but they can't fool me. So yeah, the healing hiker rating for this outer loop trail is a 1 out of 5. It is the most disappointing trail that I've hiked in New Mexico. I was reading the reviews and one person said, "Oh, it's a good trail, there's lots to see on it." There's nothing to see on it except pine trees. I would not make a special effort to drive here and hike this trail. If you happen to be camping here, then fine, do it. But otherwise, no. It is not worth the long. You're very remote here. That's pretty isolated. Anyways, I got a little bit of exercise this morning. And we got a talk in. Unless they consider this interesting. Don't have a clue what it is, but... And there's an occasional bench, which is nice. David's attitude towards Saul was respectful and full of loving entreaty. It requires tact to administer rebuke so as to achieve a changed attitude on the part of the one in error. David's efforts accomplished all that might be expected from one so hardened as Saul. There's the visitor center. And actually there is drinking water here, so that's nice. And a glimpse of the campground. Have you had people pursuing you or angry with you for no good reason? It's hard dealing kindly with them. I pray God gives you the discretion and wisdom to know how to treat your enemies.